here is my video response to Suburban Mom's video, Are You Normal? Number 6, wherein she asks each of us 9 questions and wants to see what our answers are, so thought that could be a little bit of fun. Saw someone else do it, thought I would oblige. So, here we go. Number 1, what do you do when someone asks how much you paid for something? I usually just tell them. Not big on prices, really. Mostly they're asking because, well, most of them want to know if it's cheap, so, you know, I'm not afraid of looking like a cheapskate. I mean, come on, I'm pretty poor. I live on social assistance at the moment, and I've been a student and, you know, worked fast food, all that. Not rich. What can you do? Number 2, when you're feeling blue and need a pick-me-up, what do you do? Well, my answers to this have not tended to be very healthy, but, things I used to do, or I guess sometimes still do. Sometimes I eat sugary things or junk food. I like junk food. Too much, really. But, you know, sugar highs, caffeine, you get the gist. What else? Reading, watching TV, hanging out with friends. Even doing some physical activity sometimes kind of gives me an energy boost. Number 3, do your pets see you naked? Yes. What can I say, really? Yes. My cat has seen me naked, I'm sure, many times, but he's an animal. He doesn't really know what nudity and clothing is. He just goes around wearing fur, so who cares, really? I mean, sometimes I have this thing where I used to read these books called Animorphs, and see, people would morph into animals, so I always get paranoid that my animal's actually an Animorph, and so it's actually a person watching me, but I realize, now that I've known the cat for a long, long time, that he's really not an Animorph, so I can get over that, so yes, he has seen me naked. Number 4, do you know how much your spouse makes? I don't have a spouse, so moving on. Number 5, how often do you weigh yourself? What do you wear when you weigh yourself? I weigh myself too often. Probably once every few days, minimum. I usually don't wear anything. Maybe underwear, like panties, you know, but, you know, every bit of clothing adds weight, and I always want to know my true weight, so no clothes for me. Nudity, this is becoming a common theme. Number 6, do you believe in ESP? Do you have ESP? I don't have it. I'm not quite sure if I believe in it, if I'm being honest with you. I've read a lot of books and, you know, I went to a psychic or two myself, but pretty much none of the predictions came true, so, I mean, I don't really think she was psychic, but maybe there are people who have it. I mean, I don't know. I believe that people obviously can have empathy. Sometimes really strange things happen that just can't be explained that normal scientific way, so who knows? I'd have to do a lot more reading and research and see things firsthand, really, because anybody can write anything down, so I think I'd have to see it, or experience it rather, with my own eyes first. Senses, whatever. Number 7, if you could be any character from a book, who would it be and why? My standard answer to this is a character that absolutely no one knows unless they're diehard L.M. Montgomery fans. She wrote Anne of Green Gables, by the way. I happen to be a diehard L.M. Montgomery fan. Her name is Valancy Sterling from The Blue Castle. Now see, in the book, Valancy starts off as a very boring, drab character. She has always been sort of a wallflower, very dowdy, the only old maid, you know, when in a day when marriage was very, very important for a woman, she was an old maid, and so, you know, people look down on her, whatever, but she realizes one day after she's told she's going to die, because she gets the wrong letter in the mail. It was supposed to be addressed to some other Miss Sterling anyway. She thinks she's going to die, so she completely and radically changes her life, and it ends up being this almost fairy tale. You know, I mean, it's not like, you know, she goes to a castle and she's beautiful and rich and everything, but she discovers her own natural beauty, she discovers her own happiness, what really fulfills her, and she's with a man that she loves, and turns out happily ever after, I guess. It was the fairy tale sort of idea, but She's also very spirited, full of character, full of wit. So it'd be her. I really like her. She's a great character, I think. 8. How do you brush your teeth? I brush my teeth with an electric toothbrush. I start at the left, on the bottom, in the front. Across. Then I go to the middle, back on the top, middle, and front. And I usually scrub the front a few good times because I tend to get stains on the front of my teeth and I don't like that. So, oh, and sometimes I brush my tongue too. Better breath. So there you have my lovely OCD toothbrush experience. Yeah. And finally, number 9. What would you do if a cashier mistakenly gave you back more change than was warranted? Usually I would give it back. There was one time that I can think of particularly. I had $10 of gift certificates from Tim's, and supposedly they weren't supposed to give cash back, but she did. So I was like, well, I'm not sure, and it was only like $2, and I was like, well, I'd rather keep the money, so I kept the money, but I still feel kind of bad about that. And usually, almost always, except for that one time that I can think of that I just told you about, 99% of the time I will say, are you sure you gave me the right amount of change? And I'll let them count it over. And then they usually realize, of course, but I tend to be pretty honest about that stuff most of the time, you know. Anyway, there is your response, and I should post it now. Goodbye! Have a good day!